When are we going to say those who voted for these people or cheer them on are responsible for themselves and their actions? When are we going to say they should have known better? I think a lot of this, leftists and liberals, Democrats, whoever, should have done this and that and the other is fair. But when are we going to admit that, yes, when you're running a campaign, it's your job to convince and inspire people to vote with you or be on your side. But it's also our job to be informed. It's our job as voters, as people, or as quoted in a famous children's movie, The Ants, to see through the BS, even if it's shoved in our faces. Both can be true. They didn't do a good job at gaining support, Democrats, and we don't do a good enough job at not sabotaging them, ourselves, and loved ones by pretending we're better and are the morality police. When will we, the people, admit that what so many of us do is wait for someone else to tell us what's good and bad, and that is a big part of the problem? Donald Trump, Elon Musk, anyone on any side who thinks they've learned enough. But this isn't both sides are bad, because what are we talking about here? These sides are not equal. One is clearly worse than the other, regardless of if both are bad. One is far worse. You will never learn everything, and their money, the government's incompetence, everyone's ego, and the inability to take responsibility for ourselves is why we're here. Anti-blackness is why we're here. So yeah, blame the Democrats. They're shitty at so many things, and a lot of them stand for nothing. But you're so busy playing morality police that you can't understand you're leading people to slaughter with your fake outrage posts and other hundreds of thousands to millions of followers, because instead of organizing, we are fighting each other while the rich and the terrible who have organized grow stronger and pave the way to hell. A place I don't believe in, but might end up seeing. Where is the blame and shame for the Republicans who stand idly by? Why did we call Kamala Harris, a woman of color, an Asian and Black woman, disgusting, offensive names such as Holocaust Harris? Why did people find no problem in voting for, and I quote, the lesser of two evils, unquote, when it was Biden running, but had an issue with Kamala more than they had an issue with Donald Trump? Criticism is always okay and welcome and right. It's important. But what happened was more than that. Hearing people, especially marginalized folks, bring Kamala up constantly for scrutiny and criticism more than Donald Trump, MAGA, centrists, or Republicans blew my mind. Almost. Somehow I actually wasn't surprised, but angry and disappointed. Even now, I do not follow these people and have blocked many of them, but I see she is still on their lips when they have already fired her. As for those who love the red hats talking about taking us back to a time when America was great, a fantasy, you won't know your ignorance until it slaps you in the face and takes your life too. Or maybe you are aware what your hate is doing. But your ignorant, racist, pick-me, and egotistical bobbleheads are so far up this man's ass, you can't see how much your choices will hurt and kill you and yours too. Your family, your friends. The leopards are going to eat your face. Your shame will be in history books. People on the left, liberals, Dems, whoever, can all point fingers at each other, but mine is pointed at you. Sure, I am disappointed in the fighting that has distracted people, but you? You chose not to be educated or to listen to limited sources. You chose to disregard the feelings of your trans, black, brown, indigenous, and disabled friends. You chose white supremacy over anything else. Whether willful or not, your ignorance is not bliss, but your death. To those against MAGA and the right, I am myself aware enough to know that I am not excluded from the problem, and in the past participated in being loud and working in inefficient ways for my causes. But just like you, it's time for me to wake up. If you voted for him, did not vote when you could have, not if you couldn't, I understand some could not, and you're not who I mean, or even swayed other people to not vote or vote for bad people like Jill Stein or Trump on purpose. You must understand your part in this. But at the end of the day, the ones to blame are those who will follow this man to their demise. Our self-hatred and our refusal to care for others, and understanding that we have hard choices and some are not always perfect. I refuse to believe that when we had only 2 choices, because we didn't work at the beginning and chose to only say something when there was only 2 factual choices. And when Black women spoke up about harm reduction and how we have historically had to vote for those who would do less harm, and tried to help others understand that process, that voting against her this was never about your morals. When there are multiple lives on the line, you must make the best choice that is logical and saves as many people as possible. We understood that we want to help our Palestinian family and marginalized people in America at the same time. Your vote will not always align perfectly. If you do not understand my political stances as a content creator and as a human being, let me state: free Palestine. Palestinians need assistance, and their community is still needing our eyes and work. Even being a part of the 90+% of Black female voters who did not vote for Trump, I will always stand with Palestine. I bring this up because I know a lot of Black women in particular felt and feel betrayed after the election, myself included. But I have to keep speaking up when I can. I love Palestine and my Palestinian friends. I will never forget the videos of the wounded and dead. Sorry. I will never forget the videos of the wounded and dead. And while many people from different backgrounds, as we saw with the numbers regarding the election, did not stand with us, I am still standing with all of them, whether Black or not. DEI initiatives and affirmative action are examples of things put in place to assure that all people are seen for their hard work, are not passed over due to discrimination when they are the best fit for a position, and grants equal opportunities as much as we allow them to do so. Trans and non-binary people owe you nothing. They don't owe you babies. They don't owe you ownership of their bodies and identities, and have always been here and will always be. Trans rights are human rights. If you're uncomfortable, close your eyes. Brown people and people of color are not pawns for you to play, and come from rich and diverse backgrounds that are worthy of respect, protection, and to be untouched without their permission. And are to be untouched without their permission. Anti-Semitism and hand gestures symbolizing such, and those who perform them, are disgusting. We saw what you did. Disabled people aren't to be looked down on, and everyone has a right to proper medical care, food, housing, and community. Women and children are not chess pieces or accessories. They have their own wants and needs and deserve to be protected and not used. A woman's body is her own. Anyone's body is their own. A child should be allowed to be a child and should be allowed to not worry about whether they can eat today or if someone will hurt them at school with a deadly weapon. Indigenous people have a right to the land and resources that they taught us how to use, that they shared. Their wishes should be respected. This is their land. We are guests. They deserve for their history to be taught if they please, for their water to be clean and free of contaminants, and for us to stop trying to erase their languages and cover up the horrors brought on them. Black lives and Black culture does not belong to you. Black people owe you nothing. Black people are beautiful, lively, innovative, soft, and precious. Our lives all are on the line. Black lives matter. Is everything I said perfect? No. And it will never be. But this is where I stand. So that there is no confusion, and I only have transparency. This is what I wrote, and this is what I wanted to say. We all have to take responsibility for what we contributed, whether you want to admit it or not. And history has its eyes on us. History has its eyes on you.